I checked into the hotel just after midnight, the kind of quiet roadside place you only choose when you're too tired to keep driving. The lobby was dim and empty, except for a man at the front desk who barely looked up when I approached. He handed me a key card and told me I was in room 307. When I joked about how empty the place looked, he said something that stuck with me longer than it should have. Yeah, not many people stay on that floor. I didn't think much of it at the time. I took the elevator up, stepped into a hallway that felt strangely still, and walked to my room. When I opened the door, the first thing I noticed was the smell. It wasn't terrible, just stale, like the air hadn't been moved in a while. The room itself looked mostly normal, but there were small details that didn't sit right. The bed was made, but the sheets were slightly wrinkled, like someone had sat on them. One of the drawers in the dresser was open just an inch, and there was a suitcase in the corner. I stood there for a moment, confused, thinking I had walked into the wrong room. I checked the number on the door again, 307. My key card had opened it. I went back downstairs and told the front desk there must have been a mistake because someone else's stuff was in my room. The man frowned, checked his computer, and said, "That room's empty. No one's checked into it." I told him about the suitcase. He paused for a second, then said, "Housekeeping must have left it behind," and offered to move me to another room. But for some reason I said no. I don't know why. Maybe I didn't want the hassle, or maybe I convinced myself it wasn't a big deal. He gave me a new key card, just in case, and told me to call if anything seemed off. I went back up, and the suitcase was gone. I swear it had been there. I hadn't imagined it. But now the corner of the room was empty, like it had never been there at all. That's when I started feeling uneasy. Still, I locked the door, checked the bathroom, the closet, under the bed. Everything was clear, so I tried to relax. It was around 2 a.m. when I woke up. I didn't know what woke me at first. The room was dark except for the faint glow of the TV, which I must have left on. I lay there listening. That's when I heard it. A soft shifting sound. Not from the hallway. From inside the room. I sat up slowly, my eyes adjusting to the dark, and looked toward the corner where the suitcase had been earlier. For a second I didn't see anything. Then something moved. Not quickly, not clearly, just a subtle change in the darkness, like a shape shifting. I froze. "Hello?" I said, my voice barely above a whisper. The sound stopped. Then, after a few seconds, I heard breathing, slow, controlled breathing. Not mine. I didn't think. I jumped out of bed, grabbed my phone, and backed toward the door without taking my eyes off that corner. I unlocked it, stepped into the hallway, and slammed it shut behind me. I didn't even look back. At the front desk, the same man was there. I told him everything. This time he didn't argue. He grabbed a master key and went upstairs with me. When we opened the door, the room looked completely normal. No movement, no sound, nothing in the corner. He checked the bathroom, the closet, under the bed. Nothing. Then he looked at me and said, "Sir, there's no one here." But as I stood there trying to process it, I noticed something on the nightstand. A folded piece of paper. I hadn't seen it before. I picked it up and opened it. There were only a few words written in shaky handwriting that "you took my room." I left immediately after that. I didn't stay to argue, didn't ask for a refund. I just got in my car and drove. The next day I tried calling the hotel, but no one answered. And the strangest part, when I looked it up online later, I couldn't find any record that the hotel even existed. I stayed at a hotel in Ohio during a work trip, just for one night. It wasn't a bad place, older but clean enough. When I checked in, the woman at the front desk mentioned that Housekeeping had already finished for the night, and no one else would be on my floor. I didn't think anything of it. That actually sounded nice. Quiet. My room was at the end of a long hallway on the 4th floor. As I walked down, I noticed how silent everything was. No TVs, no voices, no doors opening or closing. Just that thick, empty quiet that hotels sometimes have late at night. The room itself looked fine. I dropped my bag, took a shower, and got into bed. I must have fallen asleep pretty quickly. I woke up sometime after 1 a.m. to the sound of wheels. At first I thought I was dreaming, but then I heard it again, a slow, uneven squeaking, like a cart being pushed across carpet. It was coming from the hallway. I checked my phone, 1:17 a.m. That didn't make sense. The front desk had said no housekeeping at night. The sound got closer, squeak, pause, like whoever was pushing it was taking their time. Then it stopped. Right outside my door, I sat up in bed staring at the door, listening. For a few seconds there was nothing. Then I heard something else. Breathing. Not loud, not exaggerated, just there. Close enough that it felt like it was right on the other side of the door. I didn't move. After what felt like a full minute, there was a soft sound against the door. Not a knock. More like someone pressing their hand against it and slowly dragging it downward. Then silence again. A few seconds later, the cart started moving again, slowly rolling down the hallway until the sound faded away. I didn't sleep after that. Around 6 a.m., when the sun started coming up, I packed my things and went downstairs to check out. A different man was at the front desk. I told him what happened, trying to keep it simple. He looked confused. "We don't have any overnight housekeeping," he said. I told him about the cart. He paused, then said, "We actually don't even keep carts on guest floors anymore. They're all locked in storage at night." That was already unsettling, but then he added something else. The last time someone reported something like that, it was about a year ago. I asked what happened. He hesitated, then said quietly, "One of our housekeepers passed away during a shift. Heart attack. They found her in the hallway, next to her cart." I didn't say anything after that. I just left. But even now, I can still remember that sound. Squeak, pause, squeak, stopping right outside my door.